Resolved, churches that violate IRS policies forbidding church endorsements of political candidates should remain tax exempt. Good afternoon, Mr. Johnson. I'm here today to talk to you about the United States Tax Code, and more specifically, the Section 501c3 clause, more specifically known as the Johnson Amendment. The Johnson Amendment, named after then Senator and former President Lyndon B. Johnson of the state of Texas, prohibits the endorsement of any political candidate by any 501c3 organization. A 501c3 organization applies to any church, charity, or nonprofit establishment established for what the IRS calls exempt purposes. These purposes include, but are not limited to, charitable, religious, scientific, educational, and literary purposes. In this context, charitable includes the relief of the poor, the distressed, or the underprivileged, advancement of religion, advancement of education or science, etc. In 1954, the Johnson Amendment was introduced and approved by Congress, and in 1987, the language was changed to, and I quote, clarify that the prohibition also applies to statements opposing candidates. This is properly reflected during the 1992 presidential election, where branch ministries, a large and influential church, sponsored and released newspapers and pamphlets urging Christians not to vote for then Governor of Arkansas, Bill Clinton. Because of this advocacy, the IRS revoked branch ministries' tax-exempt status. This is just one example of the Johnson Amendment not only unconstitutionally restricting the freedom of speech of churches and pastors, but also crossing the Founding Fathers' intentions of building a country free from religious persecution and oppression. Furthermore, the Johnson Amendment was introduced during Lyndon B. Johnson's Senate re-election campaign. Conveniently, Johnson's opponent was being endorsed by two nonprofit organizations, the Facts Forum and the Committee for Constitutional Government. Johnson ultimately won his re-election campaign and quickly introduced the Johnson Amendment without further on-record explanation. It was adopted into the tax code without official debate or discussion. With these in mind, it wouldn't be far-fetched to believe that Senator Johnson's motives behind pushing this amendment was potentially entirely political. In conclusion, the Johnson Amendment is not only an unconstitutional restriction on the freedom of speech of the American evangelical voice, but also an extension of the government unaligned with its initial intentions and vision of the brave men and women who fought to establish this country. It was founded under the presumably political, selfish motivations of a senator facing an uneasy re-election, and is still being fought against this very day. It's time to end this financial fear-mongering against our churches and restore the unrestricted freedom of speech to all Americans. Thank you.